He said a lot of nice things about you on our trip out. He was just so complimentary.
You taped it too.
Okay, let me get started because I think it's going to get very warm in here. And when we're have the guys talking, we're going to have to turn the air conditioner off or we can hear it on the tape. For you that weren't here last year, one of the things that turned out to be very valuable and we were able to share with everybody, thank you to a donation from Gary Salpini. We were able to tape the round robin last year, what the guys' experience from Vietnam and what have you, and where they've been since then. And then we were able to send out the 2,000 pictures that we have accumulated from Delta Company 1st to the 6th. So if you didn't look at the CD that you got last year in the mail, that's what's on it.
Yeah.
First off, I'd like to recognize our senior member of Delta 1st to the 6th. He was a lieutenant in Delta Company, as I was a long time ago. And that would be Full Colonel Larry Sobel. Larry's sitting here with a nice blonde hair.
I'm a senior guy.
Yeah, man. It didn't. There's no generals.
No, I mean in age.
Oh no, I didn't mean that. I can guess some senior people. We got people from that were in Vietnam. Well, you were 68. Were you Boatman 68? How many were in 68? I mean, you guys are got to be old. You know? I was 67. I graduated high school in 67. So you guys are old. Feel old? Yeah. Okay. Next on my list, well, I thank Gary. We were able to put together that it actually was a DVD, and it had the movie on it, and it had the pictures. And we also took pictures from the reunion, and Pearl will be trying to do that. Who's leaving today? Oh, yeah, Ping Pong. and what? Paul, you leaving tomorrow?
Friday.
Friday. Oh, okay. I thought you were
Friday
leaving
morning.
right away.
Yeah. Oh no, Friday morning.
Oh, okay. So anyway, we ended up last year 36. This year only 17. 18.
19.
This is my favorite guy. He likes to surprise me. So I tell Larry last night, you tell me you were here. I said, I tell you what, next time we do this, Butch is going to be here, whether he's here or not. You know. Butch has been hiding out in an RV park down the road. How long now? 2 days?
Friday.
Friday. Okay. So, anywho, we've got 16. The new people that we didn't have last year. Hal, you weren't here last year, right?
Right.
Okay, and it'd be easier. Raise your hand if you weren't here last year. Come on, you got to raise a little bit higher. Senior citizens. Yeah, we got you here, and you weren't able to come last year, right? Or did you even know about it?
I knew about it.
You did know about it. Okay, so we've got 3 new people, and the rest of the people have had second thoughts of what they said last year. So this round robin, I think, will be a lot more interesting this year. Any questions on the next phase of the reunion, which is the Marical Divisions phase, which starts tomorrow, will be registration. Friday, they're going to Fort Benning to do the Walk of Honor or something like that, the dedication of the 23rd Marical Division portion of that. And then Saturday daytime will be their business meeting, and then Saturday night will be their formal dinner. And you were supposed to pre-register. I don't know at all. You know, I assume you can register tomorrow if you want to stay for that. Anybody been over there and talked to them yet? And I've never attended one, so don't ask me about it. So. Anyway, I'm going. Who's all going right now to the Benning portion of it? My goodness, that's good.
How do you
Okay, that's excellent, okay.
How do we register for that?
We attended one a few years ago,
Okay,
and at that one, you didn't have to be pre-registered. You could just walk in and they had a table.
Great.
I don't know about this time, but
Yeah.
you could sign up for, you can do whatever you want to. If you want to go to the tour, that's great. You know, if you just
I
want to go
think
there and
laying-
hang out, that's fine.
laying the buses on, they probably wanted to
Probably,
but I'm sure
right.
that they're like me, they have extras laying
Yeah.
there in case Butch, oh, hi Butch, Butch comes in here, so. Okay, see, any questions on the AmeriCal or whatever? Okay, let me, I'll start the round robin, and I'll keep it short this year. And Jim Glasscock isn't here, so we'll probably
Oh, we'll get out of here.
5 hours.
Remember last year?
You know.
Yeah, Len, tell him you really didn't invite him. Let's go.
His wife said, yeah, I can understand it.
Yeah, for a guy who was scared to talk, and he did all right.
Oh, yeah, he definitely did. When you come up to talk, you stand in this area because Pearl's got this camera pointed at you. And like I said, everybody will get a copy of the DVD with the pictures and everything. And we'll just build on that every year. My background, I was a draftsman. I thought I had a deferment, and I thought this was great, and then they dropped my deferment, and so I didn't want to go to Vietnam as an infantry guy, so I enlisted to go to drafting school, and I went to was going to go to drafting school, and then I found out that lieutenants were the ones that weren't doing all the work, so I volunteered to be a lieutenant. And I was supposed to go to engineering OCS, and they canceled my school after I went to AIT for engineers. And so it was go to Vietnam as a grunt laborer, that's what they called combat engineers, or go to infantry OCS. And I was betting that Vietnam couldn't last 6 more months. So I said, fine, I'll go to infantry OCS, and that's how I ended up in Delaware County. And I was a platoon leader for the mortars initially. And then when L.T. Hurt got killed, I took over one of the line companies. People tell me it was 3rd Platoon. I have a terrible, terrible memory. I just love sitting around listening to you guys talk, because you guys have the most unbelievable memories in the world, and I can't even remember what my name was. So anyway, after that, I stayed in the Army because my first wife, not Pearl, spent what money I sent home to her, and so I extended at Fort Truth, Arizona, made captain there, got out, immediately went in the reserves because I didn't have a job and didn't have any money. And so I was in the reserves, and I ended up being lieutenant colonel, retiring in '98 after 30 years. And then I got recalled to active duty in 2006. I went to Kuwait as a senior planner for the Iraq surge, and I turned 60 there. A great picture of me with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. That was my birthday present, and I shared that picture with a lot of you. Anyway, Pearl and I both worked for the City of Tucson Water Department. I was a superintendent there. She was my faithful secretary until she married me, and then she got kicked out of, I had to go 25 miles down the road because she couldn't work with me and be married to me at the same time. We both retired in 2002 and have moved to Arkansas, got tired of Tucson. So anyway, that's my story. You're next, Sue. You have to stand right there.
Let me take these off so that when she takes my picture, that
Right.
I think I've got something growing out of my head. Well, I'm Dennis Ash, my wife Brenda, and we literally grew up right here where we're at today at College Park. We graduated from high school 3 blocks from here. The school is no longer there anymore. The airport bought all that property and tore it down. But I was in Vietnam from July 1969 to July 70 with most of you guys. Some of you probably don't remember me because you didn't know me. But anyway, if you did, you would know what an asshole I can be sometimes. And,
You still are.
and yeah, let's call it.
And who raised their hand?
But anyway, that's what get me through Vietnam, I think. But anyway, I think last year I found out, you know, I didn't know where any of you guys were. I remembered almost every one of you, but I didn't know how to get in touch with anybody. And I got an email, no, I got a phone call from Shane Pugh, John Pugh, and he asked me if this was Dennis Ash that was in Vietnam with Delta Company. And at first, you know, I didn't know whether I wanted to come, and I'm sure some of y'all have experienced this as well, because I didn't know if I wanted to dig up all those old memories. But it's been very therapeutic for me, as well as I'm sure it has for some of y'all. And I've just been super happy to see you guys again and get to share some of our old memories together. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Louis Junkie.
I mean, Luke.
I was third platoon squad leader from March of '69 till I was offered a job with the general in about February of '70, and I stayed till September of '70 was over. I probably got the most people here of anybody that were in my squad. I guess Donna D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We, after I got out, I worked for the U.S. Forest Service 8 or 9 years, and then started my own business, and I still work it. I'm a general contractor, and we live about 2.5 hours from here in South Carolina. That's my wife, Delane. That's about all it is to it.
Larry, you wanna go next?
Sure.
Make it short, Larry.
That was great.
I'm Larry Stovall, and I was sitting there thinking, golly, what did I say last year when I went to this thing? I don't have any idea what I said. So I think, yeah, well, I should have watched the tape. I suffer from CRS, but I take solace in the fact that every one of you do too. And if you want to explain what that is to your wife, you can.
We know.
Do you? I was listening to what Lynn said about being a lieutenant over there, and I guess a lot of lieutenants ended up like me and him did. I was trying to go to college after I got out of high school, you know, to keep from going in the Army, and I went to a land grant college in Tennessee, and back then you had to, if you were a male and you went to a land grant college, you were in ROTC for 2 years. You didn't have to do the advanced stuff, but I found that I liked the classes, the military history and all that stuff. I learned how to do left face and right face, which resulted in me being a squad leader in boot camp, because the DI saw I could do left face and right face. So in boot camp, we all took a test to go to officer candidate school. You had to take a physical test and a mental test. And one night, and this is the truth, I'm not making this up, one night they got everybody together in the company that passed the test, and they got us over in the mess hall, and the first sergeant came in and he said, boys, all y'all passed the test to go to officer candidate school, and you have to understand that this is completely voluntary. Nobody goes down there unless they volunteer. And there ain't a one of you son of a bitches leaving this mess hall until you sign the papers. We all volunteered. That's how I ended up down there at Benning School for Boys. So I was really fortunate when I finished that school. I got assigned to go to the instructor training course to be there at the school for the, for the other classes coming through. The reason I was fortunate is because for a lieutenant, that meant when they bothered to train me to be an instructor, I got to stay there a year. Where lots of the lieutenants went to line companies or basic training, and they were in Vietnam 3 months to 6 months later. So I knew I had a year. So I went home and we got married, and that gave us a year there before I went to Vietnam. So I was Delta Company, 3rd Platoon. That was August of '68 till about February of '69. And then I went on R&R. When I got back, they pulled me out of the field, and I went up to the brigade for the rest of the time. So I stayed in the Army a year after I got out, and then got out of the military, went to work for Procter & Gamble, and I worked in a little group there. There was 5 guys, and 2 of them were in the reserve, and one of them tricked me into joining the reserve. But 7 years later, I kept saying, he kept trying to get me. I said, I don't want to have anything. I already done my time. I did 4 years, and back then, I did 4 years, and I was a captain. Before Vietnam, it took, 10 years to make that kind of rank. So, but anyway, that was a good thing for me to get back in the reserve. I ended up staying in to get my years in for retirement and get a little check, and I got to go back to Desert Storm. That's the thing I was thinking about. I never knew Schwarzkopf when I was there. Kelly and then Dombrowski were the battalion commanders. I was there before Schwarzkopf, and I heard the comments about Schwarzkopf last night. I'm interested to hear some more of that from you guys that were there then, because I was able to go to Desert Storm with a unit that we mobilized, and of course he was the 4-star over there. So I didn't know anything about him from his time in Vietnam, but it was really interesting hearing the comments from you guys that were there. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
You're making me stand up. Come on, Charles, get up.
What is that, Charles?
I don't.
Yes, I'm not much of a speaker. I just,
I ain't seen her number.
What's your MOS?
I got drafted back in, was it March of '69?
No, it was
My
February.
basic training at Fort
Your
Campbell,
wife says
Kentucky.
February.
He thought his own lie detector had
EIT went to Fort Polk, and then September of '69 went to Vietnam. Got assigned to Delta Company. I was in the 2nd Platoon, Walk Point. The whole time I was there, I made it from September to April, and I got hit in April. That's when I got out of there.
There's one way to get out, right?
And went back to work where I was working when I went into service, and I worked in that same building for 45 years. And
Wow.
retired last June. It's been the best year of my life.
I thought you was gonna say that year in Vietnam was the best.
No. I'm glad it didn't quite make it a whole year, so. And that's about all I got.
All right.
You trained well, then.
Yes.
All right, my name is Denny Bush, and this is my wife, Trish.
Hi.
I want to say thank you for everybody coming here. I really appreciate it. Now, when I was young, I was gung-ho. And they told me, when I was going into service, you're going to Vietnam to kill communism. So that's why I went to Vietnam, to kill communism. But unfortunately, it was wrong. So I was in Delta Company, March 69, Luke, the squad leader. Had some good time. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Let's see what else. I graduated from high school. I flunked a couple classes. See what else. And my fondest memory of Vietnam, I think, was the 3rd Platoon, especially on stand down. Especially this one guy named Little Dave playing stand down. I tell you what, hell, he could sing, couldn't he?
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
Back then, really.
Yeah,
back then.
Yeah. If it wasn't for him, I don't think we'd ever made it back. And one thing I like to say, if we could keep one silent for the guys who didn't make it, I'd appreciate it. We can bow our heads and be silent for the guys who didn't make it. Thank you very much. And again, I appreciate everybody. And again, Luke, fantastic seeing you. And Denny, it's always a pleasure. We still look the same, still an asshole. Haven't changed for me.
Some things never change.
That's right. And one thing I want to say, if anybody doesn't know, the 198 was reactivated at Fort Benning, Georgia. Let you guys know. So,
We're going back again,
yeah,
when we go on Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
So 198 is reactivated in Fort Benning. So, in case you guys want to re-up.
That's where I went to basic training, so I'm
Basic
looking
training,
forward
yeah.
to go back down.
Oh, yeah. Again, thank you very much, and God bless each and all of them. Oh, one other thing, I love Paul too.
Well, we all have a little misfortune.
Jerry.
Hard ass, Paul.
Yeah, I'm Gary Salpini, my wife Sharon back here. I was a draftee as well. Ended up getting over there in mid-June of '69 and ended up in the 2nd platoon for a month or month and a half, and then got drafted to hump the radio with the CP and hung in there until June of '70 and made it out fundamentally sound. And not a lot to say. It was a struggle, obviously, that y'all are aware of. We had some good times and bad times. And we moved from the we decided this morning, we moved from the Rocket Pocket to the Battalion Peninsula on March the 21st. And that's when everybody's fortunes went down rapidly, if you recall that. And a lot of folks, manpower got so bad you couldn't even go on R&R. So that was a tough skid. And you guys after I left, and you guys that had to carry it on into July and August and so forth, you had your work cut out for you. But likewise, I'm glad everyone showed up, and everybody's doing pretty well. I fell out of the military and got a part-time, a fill-in job till I could get a real job, and ended up being an estimator for a general contractor. And I guess I'm still looking for a real job because I'm still but life's been good. We're here. We made this much, and we just need to keep doing these for about another 30 or 40. Anyway, but thanks again for everybody coming.
Who else got back? Dave?
Uh-oh.
Oh, we'll be here for a while.
Give him a beer.
Where's his guitar?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. And like Denny, my brother Denny said, how therapeutic this is. I talked to a guy I met through the Marical Division, And he calls me up and he talks to me. His name's Steve Moss. And he talks to me about his war experiences. But in my life, you people are my brothers. You are my true family. I feel so connected to you. And last year we got together, it was like, man, I knew you guys when we were all young. And none of you have changed. You may have gotten older, more mature, but you still are all my brothers. And I'm glad you added some of the sisters too. And like I said, you can't imagine what it means to me. You know, I have post-traumatic stress, and I get to I'll call somebody up, and they're always there. And it's one thing when you're talking, like I said about my buddy Steve, he doesn't talk to somebody else who was with some other outfit, but I get to talk to the men who are with me. You know what I mean? And you know, I even sit and listen to your stories about the combat and stuff we were in, and I have my own bad memories of Vietnam, but then you guys talk, and I start getting a little scared because, man, I can't remember that shit that we went through all those bad times. I guess I must have really focused on stand down. You know, I mean, I was already trying to get my schedule ready for stand down, and I hope I brought a smile to somebody's face at one point in time. And of course, I want to admit right now, I have never been drunk a day in my life. I figured this out here about 6 years ago. I was overserved. Okay, but I hope I was entertaining to you, because you people, I live to see you people. And I mean that, each and every one of my brothers, and now all the pretty sisters, you know. So we're a complete family to me. And I want to thank you very, very much. God bless you all.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry, Drew.
Sure you are.
Still tearing the equipment up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Al Zimmerman, and a lot of faces in here I remember. It just took a while to kind of start clicking. It's been great, the emails and stuff we've been getting in, and you know, like I said, a lot of people I wouldn't have known, but I saw the pictures and different things through it. Got a couple of fond memories. The good Lord been blessed. I've been blessed with the good Lord. The time I spent over there, you don't think about the bad times. I don't dream about the bad times. It's the funny things. As I wake up during the night thinking about some of the crazy things we did. We wonder how we got away with it. But the Lord blessed my life. He really has. And it's great to see all of y'all here today. And I'm sorry I didn't get to make last year. Promise to try next year. But I got there, and when we talk about 1970, I got there in January and went home in December. So you know, anytime what happened in 1970, you pretty much got it from January to December. And I would have stayed till 1st of January if they started giving the early outs for you guys who were a lot older than I was. Y'all had to spend y'all's whole 365 days. I got a 28-day drop, so it was neat. It really was. But it's good to see y'all here. Way I got drafted was similar to some of your other ones, like Lynn was talking about. But I went to school, and then I went 3 straight quarters because I started in the summer. So I was getting married in June. So I dropped out that quarter we bought a house to get a house ready. Well, when I went back to school, you know, if y'all remember, you had to go by that little lady that took care of all the government stuff. And I told her, I said, now, I've been out, and I got reclassified back to 1A, and, you know, I need to get my deferment back. And she was, if y'all remember, most of her was a heavy-set lady, and she just looked at me and she said, well, Mr. Zimmerman, that's my job. You don't worry about that. And I said, should I call the draft board and let them know that's my job? Well, I got married, and 3 weeks later, I got drafted. And I was back in school. So I had to go back through to withdraw to get out of school. And I got the opportunity to see this lady again. Somebody told me, I'm a big guy, y'all can tell that, you know, and I bristled up in front of her. I said, you remember me? And of course, she gave me that same look that she'd given me before. She's like, there's kids come through here all the time. I don't know you. I said, well, about 6 weeks earlier, you told me you would take care of my draft deferment. And I just wanted to let you know that I have been drafted and I'm going into service, so I'm having to withdraw. And this still sticks in my mind the way that lady looked at me. She said, you know, son, I sure hope I get to see you again. I think, well, maybe she just meant that I'd be coming back to school. But in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, she probably knows my future, where I'm going and what I'm going to be doing. So that didn't set real well in a way. But anyway, we got on, we got drafted, and I went on in and we got our year fund. Remember Dennis? You remember our fire deal? Me, Rick Rutledge, Mitch,
Yep.
John Pugh, and Dennis were warming around the fire when the grenade went off in the fire. Me being as big as, you know, as I am, I just kind of turned sideways. Well, everything flew by me, you know. But Dennis and him got hit, Mitch got hit. It was kind of a strange situation. I guess that was the last time I had seen you up to that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I got sent to 91st evac, and after I got out of there, you know, they sent me back to Bayonet to recuperate. And like I was telling some of them before, I was getting ready to go back out to the field and waiting on the chopper to pick me up, and L.T. Cooper saw me sitting on the pad, and he knew I only had about 45 days left in country, so he pulled me back to the company headquarters there and got the sergeant major to give me a job, put me in charge of the drivers of the motor pool. So I never went
Well, our
back
guys
to
in the
field.
rear, they had a way of kind of taking care of you when you start getting a little bit older. And that, that was good. Hopefully you could find something towards the end there to move out. But two people I'd like to recognize that's here today is Luke and Paul. Neither one of them probably remember me because I got there in January. Paul was the first squad leader, or platoon leader, and me and Alabama came in at the same time. Y'all, most of y'all, or any of y'all remember Theo Lewis, Alabama?
Yeah.
Well, it came down to which one of us was gonna get to carry the radio. And Theo he made his PLC stripes a week before I did. So Paul gave me the honor of the radio, and I'll always remember Paul.
You know what, you're quite well.
And for some of the guys that stayed in our squad, I think they were glad that I ended up with the radio instead of Alabama. So, but anyway, and then Luke was my hero, and he didn't even know it, see, because I got there in January and Luke left in 1st of February. Well, heck, he knew everything. I mean, I'm new, I'm green, I just come in country, I know nothing, and boy, Luke knew everything. So Luke was my hero, and I always remembered him. And when I started talking to little Dave again, he started talking about Luke, and I said, you know, I'd really like to see him again. So we've kind of made contact through little Dave through all this time. But guys, I've been rambling. It's great to see all y'all. It really is. Thank y'all for inviting me here. Y'all have a safe trip home. It's good to see y'all again.
Okay, my name is Lee Navarro, and well, I come from Texas, and I was drafted back in '68. That's when I ended up in Vietnam '68. Lasted up to May of '69. I got wounded. I was shipped back to the States. Came through Japan, San Antonio. Went home for about 2 or 3 months. Came back to the hospital, then to Fort Hood. That's where I ended up getting out of the service. After that, I just went to the Postal Service, worked there for 31 years, retired in '02, and started working a seasonal job. I couldn't retire and just stay home, go crazy, more than what I was. So I started working as at the ballpark, Arlington, Texas Rangers. So I've been there since '01. And I tell my daughter every year, I say, well, this is my last year, I'm not going back. Next year gets here, so I go back, say, I thought it was your last year. I said, well, one more. It just keeps going, you know, so. Yeah, and I think most of you guys don't remember, just Jerry here, you know, that's because when we got hit, his squad came over, and I think it was about 5 of us that got hit, and about 3 guys left back behind, so they stayed with them, you know, so, and that was good, and that was my end tour and his beginning. It was his first night or second night out there. You know, so I think Larry was there too at 68, right? Yeah, everybody else been probably 69, 70, but I got some other guy from that same squad that got wounded that's supposed to be here tomorrow, and that's the first time I've seen him since over 40 years. I talked to them on the phone about a month ago, and you know, they had put an article on the American, and therefore they saw the name and called me and see if it was me. I said, yeah, that's me. So we finally got about 5 more, and supposed to be here tomorrow. So I'm hoping they will, and I'm anxious to see him, but nervous at the same time.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. We'll see.
Good afternoon. My name's Doug Burnett. I want to introduce my best friend, Sharon, and wife. And from all of us, Lynn, we want to thank you again for your efforts putting this together. This is superb. Well, that's cool. And yeah, it's wonderful to see all our old friends. I got drafted. I went in February of '69, went to Fort Wood, and from there went down to Fort Sill and trained on 105s and 155s in Clear Lake. So I was a red leg artilleryman. So wound up in Vietnam July '69, and went through the processing there at July, as you know, and wound up eventually over at Bayonet with about 12 other artillery guys. They assembled us. And still didn't know what was going on, but they lined us up and said, all right, 3 of you are going out with the field forces. And my name was one that was called. I said, well, that's cool, what is it? He said, well, you're going to be out with the infantry as a forward observer team. And here I thought, well, I'm going to be up on a hill shooting a 105 or a 155. That's not so bad, considering those other bastards going to be out in the field, you know, off the bush. So anyway, I got out there. I originally wound up with Charlie Company, 1st to 6th. Did a little over 4 months with them, then joined Delta Company in November of '69 and stayed till the end of December, and then I got a job in the rear, which was really, really cool. Lots of stories, and you know, last night the exchanges were just so good, you know, the memories, you know, we've been in the same places and the same geographic areas, and I admire Salpini's hair.
The Indian.
Okay, that's it. Next year.
Anyway, we all got stories, but there's one that really stuck in my mind. And it's a personal story, but I think you might be able to relate. When I got ready to go out to the field, I was at Bayonet, and they put me at a 2.5 ton and drove me up to Fat City for whatever reason. There I got on a helicopter at Fat City. Never been on a helicopter in my life, of course. No one's on it. Doors were wide open. RPMs are going around, and it's loud, and there's these 2 door gunners. So I'm reluctant to get on the helicopter, don't know what to do. The seats are folded up. So I get right in the middle, as close to the middle. Back. So this bird starts to take off, and I mean, it takes off and gains altitude. It starts to get cool. The air is really nice and fresh up there. Pretty soon I got enough nerve to kind of move over and look down. Both sides. And lots of potholes, and everything's so pretty and green. We flew, it seems like, for a long, long time. We kind of talked about that last night, some of those helicopter rides being a long time. Well, eventually, I felt the helicopter kind of go into a bank. And I mean, he put it in the bank, and I'm sure I'm gonna slip out of that bank. But anyway, I looked down, and there's some red smoke coming up out of the ground. And helicopter made another circle and landed, and there's about 100 grunts there on the ground, and they are dirty. I mean, they look weathered, brown, various shades of dress. So, door gunner, get off. So, and I got off, and I mean, the bird took off right away, of course. So here I am, new, fatigued, green, stuck out like a sore thumb, trying to find my way around, and finally somebody said, kind of pointed up there. So I walked up, met the Captain Roselle, and then I met the forward observer. His name was Lieutenant Lane. And then I met the RTO. His name was Stuart Brim. And I had not even shaken hands with him before he had the radio out of his rucksack. So anyway, that was, lots of memories, but that was my first one. That helicopter ride, again, we talked about that last night, and it was so much fun. But it's so good to be here, see you guys again for the second year, and getting better acquainted with everyone, and it's wonderful. Thank you.
Where's your shaving cream?
I'm Paul Uncle. Before I get started, there's something bothering me. I just need to ask Ash, how did that grenade get in that fire?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I mean, I know you wanted to go home, but that was a chancy thing to do.
I never threw a grenade short, trust me.
Well, somebody did. I didn't really want to go to war. I really never looked at myself as the soldier type, to be honest with you. So I went to college, and I think I'm smarter than President Nixon, but apparently I wasn't. Because when I got out, I think within 2 months I got my, guess what? You're going on a year's vacation. So I ended up in Fort Jackson for basic training. And then I thought I went to Vietnam, but I was actually in Fort Polk, Louisiana. I'm not kidding. It was the worst place on the face of the earth. I couldn't wait to get out of there and go to Vietnam. Well, I'm thinking, okay, when I get done here, I'm going to go to Vietnam. So they asked, was there anyone willing to go to NCO school? I had no idea what NCO school was, but I wanted to go anyway. So I ended up going to Fort Benning, Georgia. It was a very interesting time. I did learn a lot, I really did. I can't say I didn't. Well, after that, you went back to, I went to Fort Jackson to train. I was like a drill sergeant. But before that, they had another school I could go to, was Ranger School. But I tell you what, I never liked to run. I hated to run. And I knew if you went to Ranger School, you had to run all, I don't know if you went to the toilet, dinner, it didn't matter. You had to run everywhere. And I just didn't want to do it. So I said, oh, to heck with it. I'll take my chances. I said, Nixon's got to end. It's got to be over, because rumors galore, right? We always heard the rumors. So I said, okay. So I go to Fort Jackson, and then after that, there was three of us sergeants, and none of us really wanted to go. One was from the south, one was from the north, and I was from the north. And we agreed not to show up for 2 weeks after the date we were supposed to be. In other words, I was AWOL for 2 weeks. Now, anybody knows me, I do everything by the book. I am a very law and order kind of guy. I don't